Expert: corrupt FBI leaker Comey lied to Congress. Abedine emails released Friday provide further support to lock him up. By Jim Hoft for thegatewaypundit.com. Chris Farrell, the Director of Investigations and Research at Judicial Watch, was a guest on Fox News last night to discuss the portion of Abedine's emails that were released by the State Department yesterday. During the interview, Farrell pointed out how former FBI Director James Comey lied before Congress when discussing the emails in front of Congress. Gateway Pundit's Christina Layla reported yesterday that, as previously reported, conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch revealed in October the State Department admitted it received 2,800 Abedine government documents from the FBI that were found on her husband Anthony Weiner's laptop. Fox News reported yesterday that at least 4 of the documents released Friday are marked classified. One November 2010 document that was released shows Abedine forwarding an email to an address titled Anthony Campaign. Former FBI Director James Comey said during a congressional hearing earlier this year that he believed Abedine regularly forwarded emails to Weiner for him to print out so she could give them to Clinton. Fox News further points out that Judicial Watch requested the emails. The conservative group Judicial Watch filed suit against the State Department for all official department emails sent or received by Abedine on a non-state.gov email address. This is a major victory, the group's president Tom Fitton said in a Friday statement. After years of hard work in federal court, Judicial Watch has forced the State Department to finally allow Americans to see these public documents. Fitton added these government docs were on Anthony Weiner's laptop, dramatically illustrates the need for the Justice Department to finally do a serious investigation of Hillary Clinton's and Abedine's obvious violations of law. Last night, Fox News held a segment on the emails. Farrell from Judicial Watch shared the following. I know that people have been jailed for a tiny fraction of what has now been made public and documented through Judicial Watch's litigation, and so this really cries out for a legitimate investigation to be done. Your earlier clip with Mr. Comey talking about intent is a fraud. There's no requirement for proving intent under that particular citation. I gave you a moment ago. Intent is irrelevant. The fact that the loss or the mishandling of the national defense information occurred, that's the crime, Farrell went on to state. Frankly, these documents confirm the foundation for an indictment of Comey and Peter Strzok, the investigator who is at the center of this entire nightmare of a security problem. Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch, earlier in the day tweeted an assessment on the Abedine emails. Bernard B. Carrick. The possession, transmission, and failing to secure these documents are all federal crimes that do not require intent. Why hasn't someone been prosecuted? Any member of the FBI, the Justice Department, or DOD would have been prosecuted in a second for a violation that substantial. Comey, Strzok, and all of the corrupt FBI and DOJ agents and lawyers need to be brought to justice now. We cannot have the America that we know and cherish until justice is served. Either all the criminals are properly investigated, prosecuted, and charged, or America becomes a banana republic and the world is lost for generations. Judicial Watch, I think this is Tom Fitton Oh,
The
no.
conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch filed a suit against the State Department for Huma Abedine's emails. They are describing this release as a major victory for them. Joining us from Judicial Watch tonight is Chris Farrell, the Director of Investigations and Research. There have been so many email dumps, Chris. Why is this one different?
Well, this is the 20th production in this case. This one's critical because it places classified information on the Wiener laptop. It beyond any doubt, according to the State Department themselves, proves that classified information was forwarded in an unlawful way. It's a direct violation of Title 18 of the U.S. Code, Section 793F, which is mishandling national defense information. I personally have investigated and prosecuted those cases as an Army counterintelligence special agent. I know that people have been jailed for a tiny fraction of what has now been made public and documented through Judicial Watch's litigation. And so this really cries out for a legitimate investigation being done. Your earlier clip with Mr. Comey talking about intent is a fraud. There's no requirement for improving intent under that particular citation I gave you a moment ago. Intent is irrelevant. The fact that the loss or the mishandling of the national defense information occurred, that's the crime.
Chris, I want to follow up on that. I'm sorry to interrupt, but another Comey clip there where he said in testimony on the Hill, Abedine didn't have a sense she was violating the law. I've never heard of such a thing.
It's irrelevant, and no one, let me tell you, no one in the armed forces, the intelligence community, or law enforcement, no one listening to this program tonight who has ever had a security clearance would ever buy that kind of phony excuse. Comey already manufactured his get-out-of-jail-free card for Hillary Clinton, months before she was even subject interviewed in July. And that's been documented as well. Frankly, these documents could form the foundation for an indictment of Comey and Strzok, the investigator who is at the center of this entire nightmare of a security problem.
I'm glad you mentioned Peter Strzok, the FBI agent who sent those text messages that were pro-Trump, pro-Clinton, I should say, anti-Trump.
Right.
We've learned more recently. He was in the middle of basically running this investigation and looking through that laptop, in fact. The fact that we didn't know that then, right before the election, is that grounds now for the Justice Department to say, we need to reopen this, there needs to be a criminal investigation?
Absolutely, because on the 2nd of July, when Mrs. Clinton was interviewed, she wasn't even Mirandized. You had federal agents who had reason to believe the person sitting in front of them had committed a crime. And through the lawyering of David Kendall, what should have been a subject interview under oath of Mrs. Clinton turned into a coffee and donut session. And when she sat there and said she could not remember more than 30 some odd times, it doesn't pass the giggle test. No one in their right mind would believe that. And also, when someone says that, you pause the interview, you pull out her non-disclosure agreement, you have her review it and refresh her recollection, and then ask her to explain how she doesn't remember being briefed on this.
I've got a minute left. Let's say, for argument's sake, that everything you just laid out is 100% accurate, that there should be a criminal investigation, that there may have been serious wrongdoing here that they got away with. But what do you say to the viewer tonight watching this saying, you're relitigating old stuff. Hillary Clinton lost the election. Let's move on.
It has nothing to do with the politics of losing an election. What it has to do with is violating national security law and putting top secret sensitive compartmental information at risk, and not just at risk, but likely compromised to foreign intelligence services. Not just the information itself, but the sources and methods of collection. This is the gravest national security crime one can commit. It's not an administrative oops. This is a crime that borders on treason, and it's punishable at that level.
Chris Farrell, important stakes tonight. We appreciate you coming in. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
As you can see, they're going after them, and Strzok was behind this. Could Strzok have told Comey let it go, or they both did it? I don't know. But they're getting to the bottom of this, that's for sure, because a lot of information is coming out now, and also, again, thanks to Judicial Watch, who was calling for the release of these emails. And we're not getting the whole story, a lot of that was redacted also, that. Can you just imagine what was on there? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and again, thank you so much for watching.